Hey, this is Matt Boldy, and you're listening to Locked On Wild.
You're Locked On Wild, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome in to yet another live show here on a wonderful Wednesday evening. Got myself here as well as Denny, so I will turn it right over to the man in charge.
Well, welcome to What the Hell Are You Smoking for another show. Today I'm going to be discussing several things about the Wild. I'm going to give you my views on the power play and what's wrong with it. A possible trade that I think we should do. The rankings of where they have Gus Bus and the speculation of a Rossi trade, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I've set up my podcasting a little different today. How does it look from your side?
Audience, let us know. Looks good to me.
Okay. I want to start the show up by saying, I always try to tell you something good that happened in my life. And very few people know about this, but I got to enjoy Huey Lewis and the News concert at Mystic Lake with Lou Nanny, his wife, Benchwarmer Bob, and his wife. And it was a hell of a concert. And it was a good time shooting the shit with Lou all through the show and after the show. And that's it for this part. But it really was cool. Lou Nanny and his wife are very personable, and same with Bob and his wife. And it was just a cool thing that I got lucky to do. Moving on. Now, the rankings came out on goalies today from THG, and he has Gus ranked number 10. I have Gus ranked at number 3. The reason being is I use real numbers. And, all this projection stuff to me is just that, projection. It doesn't mean nothing to me. You got Connor Hellebuck at number 1 with, hold on, I got to straighten my board here a little bit. Hold on. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, that'll work. He's got Hellebuck at number 1, as I do. I have Stolers from Los Angeles at number 2, and Gus Bus is number 3. And the reason I have it this way is because Connor Hellebuck has a 192 save percentage. Stolers has a 211. Gus Bus has 227. 934 save percentage, 920 and 919. 12-1, 6-3, 7-2. That's the 3 best records. Those are the ones that count. That's what they've done, and that's what I go by. All this projection, I don't know how they come up with the stuff, but it's beyond me. And as for Rossi, he's got 13 points in 50 games. He's one of the best two-way centers in the league already. It's only his second year, and people are talking about trading him. I don't understand that one bit. It makes no sense to me. Which brings me to this. I would like to propose a trade for the Minnesota Wild. I think for them to make a cup run, we need to go after Brock Nelson of the New York Islanders. He's a Minnesota boy. He's in the last year of his contract. He's 33 years old. I think we could get him for a second round pick, a player to be named, and Mojo, Gustafson. Putting Brock Nelson up on the second line would give us two very formidable lines. And with that, we could actually make a cup run. I'm not sure what Mr. Hines is doing, having Mojo on the second line. 3 points in 15 games, it doesn't cut it. If he was a fourth liner, he'd be lucky to stay. So how is he staying on the second line? The only thing I can think of, Seth, is Billy is telling him to play him. Because I don't think Hines would be playing him otherwise. I don't see how he can do it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to say because the projections for Marco Rossi have him at 16 points, 5 goals, 11 assists, and 77 games at his current pace. And if there is any universe in which that's acceptable, I don't want to be part of it.
I don't get it. Rossi's just a young stud who's only getting better. And Gus Bus, he's a stud. You know, I'm all aboard the Gus Bus. And I think our defense now, you could probably put him in top 5 through the NHL.
Yeah.
Now, McCarr and Hughes, they're the point leaders, but, McCarr is also a minus player. And so, he's got a lot of points, but he's also a minus. So for me, defense is you got to stop the puck. And he's on the ice for, I think he's a minus 12 last time I looked. And as I told you before, I think Spurgeon and Rodin are a top 10 duel. And I guess your numbers on the last show showed where they really are.
Yeah, they are in terms of expected goals against per 60 minutes. They are number 1 in the NHL as a D pairing.
There you go.
Not top 3, not top 5, number 1 in the NHL in expected goals against per 60 minutes. The crazy one to me, Denny, I don't know what to make about this. Declan Chisholm and John Merrill is 3rd.
How did they get those numbers?
It's the same metric, but it's in about 30 fewer minutes, and the offensive
that says a lot right there. Number 1.
Yeah, and the offensive numbers are far better for Brodin and Spurgeon than they are for Chisholm and Merrill.
As they should be. Our top 4 is as good as any top 4 in the league. I can't think anybody that's really significant. You got McCarr and Hughes because they score points.
Yeah.
But defensively, I don't see anybody who can stay the course with us. Spurgeon, when you think about that turnaround pass for the breakaway with Toronto, that's Spurgeon. Who else does that? People overlook what he brings to the table so much because of his size, but I love him. And I'm glad he's raring to go because, since his surgery, he's back to old Spurgeon.
Yeah, and it's created a top 4 that is really, really good, and you don't worry about him really at all. I mean, from the sounds of it, Jonas Brodin got a little banged up against Chicago and was out of practice, but it was more maintenance than anything. So I don't think we have to worry about him missing any time. So that top 4 is, like you said.
Elite.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the power play and what I'm seeing and what I think they should do. Right now, our power plays in pause. It's very predictable. They're standing on the corners in the middle, moving the puck around. If I was the coach doing the power play, first thing I'd do is I'd be having them cycle. And I mean, having the players cycle all the way around. And when a defenseman charges or tries to make an interruption in the play, that's where you open your lanes to create. And they're not doing that right now. They're just so predictable. They have to, in my opinion, they have to cycle the puck and cycle the people. And when you do that, then you create your own offense. Just moving a puck around really is not enough with today's defensemen.
Yeah,
even with excellent puck handling.
It's the same issue that they've had over the last couple of years when it's not going well, is it's just everybody kind of anchors, and it gets pretty easy to defend because people aren't going to be moving off their spot.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I've lost you.
We were having some technical difficulties
before
the show got going, and looks like they have reared their ugly head here once again.
I can't hear a word you're saying now, Seth. I'm sorry.
All right, we're gonna pause to get this figured out.
Yeah. Pause me, and I'm gonna do some backtracking here and figure out what the hell's going on.
Okay. So we're gonna, So I'll just mute you for now. Yeah. I'll take over until we can kind of get this figured out. And it's not an issue of it's an issue of Denny not being able to hear me. Is all. So we're gonna try to get that ironed out here as quickly as we can. But just to talk about a couple of things that I have liked so far this season. Denny talked about the power play, like just looking at where the Wild are sitting right now in the NHL. They're currently they're near the middle of the pack in terms of power play percentage. They're 12th actually, tied with the Chicago Blackhawks at 20.8%. Somebody mentioned, actually I heard it on the broadcast against Chicago, that the Wild have a 85% kill on the road, as opposed to where it's at home. They're at 75% for the season through 15 games. And so hopefully that 12 out of 12 on the road against San Jose, Anaheim, and Chicago, hopefully that kind of gets them the confidence to get back on track. But from a power play perspective, Denny is absolutely right. If you don't move, if you just stand where you're at, you're going to have a bad time. And also have Kirill on the ice, and that unit's ability to score is infinitely higher. Ron's absolutely right here as well. They just don't shoot on the power play, always looking for the perfect shot. And what do we say about the perfect shot on the power play? If you are trying to set up for the perfect shot, odds are it's not going to be there when you try for it. Like, by the time the window opens, the opportunity to shoot has passed. Yeah, Glenn, this is a good point in regards to Brodin. Although I think whatever is ailing him, I tend to put on the minor side. But the Wild are going to have to make a decision here. Denny, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Okay, looks like maybe we got him back. So, Denny, can you hear me? All right. We are continuing to try to get that figured out. We'll see if we can get that corrected. It's going to have to be something that the Wilds look at a couple of years down the road, like you said. This is why we're seeing Brock Faber and Zeev Buium become the focus. Denny, can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit now. I just restarted the whole program with the show and the whole thing. Now I can hear you a little bit.
Okay.
I guess this will have to do.
Yeah, if it's passable for today, we can get by.
Well, at least I can hear you.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were talking about the power play and the penalty kill.
And what was said?
Well, just I was kind of laying out where the Wild sit in the league. 12th on the power play, 24th on the kill. We had talked a little bit about what needs to happen on the power play you had.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of reinforcing that. We had
Gotcha.
not yet talked about the penalty kill. So
Okay,
maybe we just start there.
Okay. Well, at the penalty kill, there's several different ways you can attack it. And the most common way now is to stack four at the blue line or one up, two, and then one. And the whole thing with when people are coming on the power play now, they pass it around. They have the last trailer coming up with speed to hit the blue line, make a move to open up a lane. And Dino last year had his defenseman about 2 feet behind the blue line, which made for easy entry for the power play. Hines has moved it up a little bit, but you got to have the right people there too. You need speed up top. And Lauko and Murat are pretty good up top. They both got good foot speed, and I like them there. And with Spurgeon and Brodin, how many minutes does Spurgeon and Brodin play in the power play or in the penalty kill? I mean?
Let me pull that up here. I'm just going to go to Hockey Reference because they lay that out way better than anybody else does. So 2024, 2025 Minnesota Wild stats. And what I'm looking for is this one. Okay. Jared Spurgeon right now plays about 1 minute, 27 seconds per night on the power play. 48 seconds on the penalty kill, typically.
Yeah.
Jonas Brodin, 23 seconds on the power play per night, 2 minutes, 14 seconds per night on the penalty kill.
There you go. Well, I would put Spurgeon up there and give him more time with Murat and Malko, and that would be a pretty good penalty kill.
The two defensemen that are averaging the most time per night on the penalty kill are Brock Faber and Jonas Brodin. Faber's averaging 2 minutes, 6 seconds per night on the penalty kill. Where's Jake Middleton? Middleton's at 1 minute, 35 seconds. I think that's it for defensemen. Zach Bogosian, 1 minute, 27 seconds per night on the kill.
Wouldn't be on my penalty kill. He's too slow. He has no foot speed. He's my number 7 defenseman. He's only good certain times of teams for certain type of game. But they have to power play is very stale right now, and they have to every team studies what you do, and they're like, well, this is what they're doing, this is what we'll do, we'll figure it out. So the Wild have to they got to start moving their feet. They got to cycle the puck and create their own chances. They can't wait. when a defenseman comes at you, that creates an open lane, and they got to pounce on that. We got the puck handlers. We have everything for a power play to be very lethal. They're just a little stale right now, and I hope they understand what I say about cycling and moving, because that's what creates lanes. And, when you're just passing around, they're not shooting the puck, they're not doing anything but pass it. And they seem to do that a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit.
For the penalty kill, I haven't watched all the games, but I think their penalty kill is actually pretty good. I know it started out horrendous, but I think, what are they, 0 for 12 in the last?
Yeah, they went 12 for 12 on the kill on the road trip.
Yep. That's good. That's really good.
And here's the other thing too is I've had people point out, well, it's against the Sharks and the Ducks and the Blackhawks. It's like,
doesn't matter.
Bottom line, it's against another team's power play.
Damn right. They're still winning games. They still got great players. It doesn't matter. It's an NHL team. And when you don't respect them, that's when you lose.
Yeah.
And another thing, I heard a lot, when you get 5 out of 6 points on the road, it doesn't get any better than that. And I want you to think about this. When you're coming from an airplane from Los Angeles to Chicago, and the last game of the road trip, you go through all those different time zones. I don't care how used to it you are, your body is really affected by those time changes. I don't know how many people have taken a plane to the West Coast, but it makes a big difference on it. Doesn't matter if you're used to it or not. Your body just does not, I don't know what changes it goes through to get back to normal, but it takes a while. So to get 5 out of 6 points is a beautiful thing. If you play 500 road hockey and win at home, that's a winning combination. Always has been and always will be. And we're far ahead of the game. In fact, my power rankings for this week, I still have Winnipeg 1, I still have Minnesota 2, and I still have Florida number 3.
And Denny, that loss to the Jets continues to look better and better considering the circumstances. And I'm just going to look right now. I don't know how many teams have actually, I think this was you and I discussing this before the show today. I don't know how many teams have actually gotten Winnipeg to overtime this year.
I can't think of any. Maybe one.
I'm going to just look. I'm going to look at the schedule here because they've just been destroying. Oh, so they do have a couple. They have 3 overtime games. That's it.
And we're one of them.
We are 1. Chicago is 1, and Seattle is 1.
Forgot about Chicago. I think I remember Seattle. Yeah.
But considering that was the second night of a back-to-back for the Wild, getting a point out of that game, pretty good.
Was huge.
Yeah.
And you could clearly see they had no legs left at the end. I mean, they were dragging. That's how it goes. Every team goes through it, and everyone's got to do it, but that's the way it is. Yeah, so getting a point with Winnipeg, as I've said earlier, the biggest statement game of the season is coming up. What is it, 25th we play them? Winnipeg?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the statement game there. And so is Dallas coming up. That's somewhat of a statement game too, because it's Central Division. And because they beat us up so badly last year, it would be interesting to see how we fare. And that brings me up to Ohgren. He's got 4 goals since he's been down there, just got a hat trick. I sure wish they would call him up and put him up on the second with Eck and Boldy. And let's see, give the kid a chance, give him 20 games and see what he can do. I know Hines doesn't like playing rookies, but the kid's just, I'm very high on him. I just wish they'd give him a chance and not 4th line, 7-minute stuff. Put him up there on top, see what he can do, and that way you can judge what he's got, what he doesn't. I still think we need to get Brock Nelson. that would really give us a formidable duel there up on top, and would give us a legitimate chance for a Stanley Cup. Our defense is solid. Our goalie is solid. We're still working the third and fourth lines, but we got to get rid of Mojo. And Mr. Hines, I hope you're listening. He should be benched. You know, what'd you say the analytics were for him?
I mean, that line over the last 3 games, especially, they have allowed. I got to see if I can find that tweet. They've allowed they hardly allow any shot attempts at all against their opponents. And let me see. Brett put that together a couple of games ago. Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. Like, in terms of shot attempts, they are 39-5 in favor of the Wild. Shots on goal is 15-1. And high danger chances is 9-3 in favor of the Wild, and in favor of that group, in favor of that line. So, like, it's not just like pretty good numbers. Like, they're putting up dominant numbers, but I got to help feeling like the numbers would be better with a more active third participant.
No, it's not Mojo doing that. That's all Boldy and Eck. Because Mojo is resorted back to his old way of playing, which is skating up and down the ice doing nothing. You know, how many shots has he got on goal average now? A half?
I'm probably going to vomit if I find the number. He has in 14 games, he has 20 shots on goal.
So he's a point and a quarter about. Wow. That's very impressive for a top 6 winger. Mr. Hines, please do the team a favor. Change to somebody else. I'd even give Lauko a chance. I mean, the kid's got speed. He's got a good shot. He can move the puck. Put him up there. You got nothing to lose because you're not losing nothing with him there. I mean, I don't get it. Same thing last year. And I really think Billy has got some influence in this, who he's playing, because I don't think Hines would play him otherwise. Not where he's at, anyway. What else we got? We got any questions?
Oh yeah, we have quite a few comments. Let's start with this one from Trav. What was the best song during that set during the concert you went to?
Which concert?
The one that you talked about.
Huey Lewis and the News?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. Damn good question. I can't even remember the name of the songs. That's how old I'm getting. But he had a bunch of them. Yeah, one about baseball, too. That was a pretty good one. Tell you what, let me look it up on my phone and I'll tell you. Next question.
So we got that one. Urban, Rossi may be pricing himself out. Trade him for Adam Juracek and a pick. Rossi expected to get about $8 million AAV. Juracek much cheaper. How about those D pairings?
Who said who said those numbers for him?
Urban.
I don't think that's in line with what's happening. You know, he's in the top 40. He's tied with 13 other players with 13 points. And we're talking, you know, from Austin Matthews all the way around. But he's not a top 20 yet. And only top 20 players get that kind of money. I don't think he's going to get asked for 7 or 6, maybe. If they would have listened to me at the beginning of the year and offered them $5 million at 8, we'd be that much better off. But you know how that goes.
Trav said power play isn't moving enough. Everybody's standing around flat-footed, passing on the perimeter. Yep. So fully in agreement with
That's exactly right.
What you were talking about. He also says the only goalie stat I care about is save percentage.
Yep.
That's one of the important ones.
That's the real one.
Creepy Colors pointed out, like we just talked about, that Jets loss does not look bad at all anymore. In fact, I would call that I'm not one to usually take moral victories, but considering how good the Jets have been, I definitely would consider that a moral victory so far this season. So
I can't think of a team. I think the Wild's best win record was 12 games in a row. I think that's the record.
Yeah.
And
that sounds
that was
right.
Very impressive. And Winnipeg's far surpassed that. But you know what? Injuries happen and teams go into funks. Right now, the hockey gods are smiling at Winnipeg. They're firing all cylinders. I don't see anything wrong with their game at all. And Pionk from Hermantown, Minnesota boy, is really coming to his own, and they have so much depth up there. Oh, Jesus. They're in a good position.
Yeah, and the last time a team got off to this good of a start, the Boston Bruins 2 years ago, what happened to them in the playoffs?
Yeah, well, look what happened to Winnipeg in the playoffs last year.
Yep. So it's all about how you do in the second season.
Songs from Huey Lewis in the News. I'm checking it out right now. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Songs. Here are the first 3. Power of Love, Heart of Rock and Roll.
The Power of Love.
Okay.
That's a pretty strong song. Do you believe in love, heart, soul? Now they're coming back to me. The Heart of Rock and Roll. Yeah. I mean, he had 20, top 20 hits. It's got a lot of good music. And he was really a good show. So there you go. Power of Love would be number 1.
Ron asks if you remember when Lurtz and Louie did the TCF Bank commercials.
Yes, I do. Oh, but, Bob had a bar out in Burnsville. I forget the name of the bar. I know he sold it, but it was a nice bar. I enjoyed, I used to be a fundraiser for South School Districts, Lakeville, Burnsville, Egan, etc. And at one time we had 30,000 card members. My business was called Click Club USA. The schools used to sell the cards for $20. I get 10, they get 10. And Lakeville Theater, well, everything on the card was 2 for 1, and I had like 300 restaurants on it, movie theaters, all kinds of stuff. Kind of like, what's that coupon book they call that the schools still sell?
I know which one you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
Yeah. I based it off of that, but mine was just like a Visa card. And did pretty well with that, actually. Took me a couple of years to sign up 300, but I had the Twins, the Timberwolves, no hockey. They wouldn't give me nothing. Of course. But next question.
Oh God, Hoptics is trying to blow my brain up. We'll get to that in a second. Glenn asking about Brock Besser. Now Brock Besser is injured right now. Took an illegal hit. Took, I think, an elbow to the head.
Yep.
But Besser is 27. He right now has 6 goals and 5 assists in 12 games. But Denny, we were talking about this before the show today.
Yep.
Vancouver right now, if I pull up the NHL standings, Vancouver is currently in the third spot in the Pacific.
Yep.
So unless they fall out completely, they're not gonna give up Brock Besser. He's not going anywhere this season.
You know, he's in the last year of his contract. He's a Minnesota boy, and if he wants to come home and play for a little discount, I would definitely do it. But I don't see it happening now. I mean, our best shot. I've looked at a lot of players, and Brock Nelson. I know the Wild like Brock Nelson for one. I think they've had conversations before, and I actually, I would think by trade time, Brock Nelson will be on his way here, and it'll be his last contract. He gets to play for his hometown team to end his career. What better way to do it?
Yeah,
I
because
think that's a
here's
storybook ending.
another thing that I use to determine whether teams are legitimately good or not, Denny, is goal
What?
differential.
Yes,
And
that's a very good. So what's ours now?
the Minnesota Wild are at plus 14 right now.
Well, who's the best? Winnipeg, I imagine.
Winnipeg at plus 39.
Oh God!
Unbelievable. But if
Yeah,
you
I've never seen a team like it.
if you think about it, through 15 games, the Wild have basically outscored their opponents by one goal every game this season.
Yep.
Like they have been at least one goal better every game, and that is the third best goal differential in the Western Conference right now, behind Vegas and Winnipeg, and just ahead of the Dallas Stars.
Oh Jesus! I gotta take a break. I gotta my nose. Sorry.
All right, that's fine. So, here's what I like. Let's continue this. Hey, Urban, none of that. The Islanders are -8 right now. They've scored 42 goals. They've given up 50. And that is just kind of an indicator that unless they really pull it together, they're probably going to be out of it by the time the trade deadline rolls around. And as Trav mentions, this is why the Wild do so many call-ups and send-downs, is so that they can accumulate cap space by the deadline to be able to make a big acquisition. Now, it fluctuates so much. The last time I looked at it before today, the Wild had $10+ million in deadline cap space. And now that they've made a couple roster moves, they are at like $3.7 million in terms of potential deadline cap space. But it fluctuates. That's why the Wild call and send down players as much as they do, so that they can accumulate that. So if they have like $10 million at the deadline, they're going to go get somebody big because they've got the defense, they've got the goaltending, and this is the season with how the Western Conference has been so far. This is the season to go make a move, because if you can get something big to be able to keep up with Winnipeg and their inevitable settling back down to earth, it would behoove the Minnesota Wild to do so this season. You've got as many draft picks as you can possibly want. You've got prospects like crazy. Go make a move to bolster this team. I'm begging you.
One, maybe two.
Yeah.
Because injuries are going to play a major part, as they always do with every team in the playoff run. Somebody's going to get hurt. The good thing is, as you just said, we got prospects. We got the space.
Yep.
To be able to do it. Because really, this is. I'm trying to think how many teams have actually had the team to make a cup run. It's been a long time for Minnesota. That looked really good.
Yeah.
And Suter and Parisi were, they both got hurt before the playoffs, and that just killed us. And you can't recover from that. So, I've been asked several times to talk about the North Stars. And I would like everybody, all the fans out here listening, who do you think the best Minnesota North Star is? And while you're thinking about that, I'm going to tell you who I think is. That's Dino Ciccarelli. He was just a scoring machine. And because I think he's 5'8", but I think he's the best player that Minnesota North Stars ever had. And if you ever got to watch him, he'd stand in front of the net and they'd just kill him, and he'd just score anyway. It didn't matter. He was a great player. And, a lot of people have Madonna number 1, Broughton 2. And I could also think Bill Goldsworthy. He had the Goalie shuffle. He was actually, I think, the first player to start doing some kind of dance after a goal. What was called the Goalie shuffle. Running down the board and everybody high-fiving him. It's pretty cool.
We've got votes. Trav said Dino or Madonna. Keith says Bill Goldsworthy. He also says extra credit for the shuffle. Urban says Madonna. Bob says Dino was a great antagonist.
Yes, he was.
Ron says Neil Broughton.
Well, Neil Broughton had 1 year. He scored 105 points, and he took over games.
Wow.
And he got hurt a lot, though. That really kind of set him back. But I remember 1 year when he had that 105-point season, he was phenomenal. Just phenomenal. He would take over games, and nobody could touch him. It was kind of like what Connor does and Drysdale. He was that class of player. By the way, I wanted to give a shout out to Bob Hoist. As you know, I think very highly of our hockey family here, and we have some very intelligent hockey IQ. We don't have a bunch of dummies on this show. And I've been a contributor for a lot of shows in the past, and the questions that I see getting, we don't have that here. I mean, this is real hockey here. And I just want to give a shout out to Bob because we talk on the phone, and he's coming down from where he lives up north. And we're going to go to my birthday party at the end of January and see a game together. And I'm really looking forward to that. Thanks, Bob.
Yes, that should be a lot of fun. I want to a couple of other Bob also mentioning the big man Caesar.
Oh yeah, Caesar,
the big man. Urban brings up an interesting point because the Nashville Predators right now are finding themselves in the same position that the Minnesota Wild were in last year.
Yep.
Having to try to dig out of a big hole, because I think we can agree, Denny, that is a team that should be a lot better than they are because of the talent that they have on the roster.
They're not clicking at all. I watched the game, and I'm not sure what's wrong. I can't put my finger on them, but Stamkos is out of place. He looks lost out on the ice, and that's the first time I've ever seen that from Stamkos. And I think that's the biggest reason up front, because they're not scoring any goals at all.
No. They've scored
last?
Yeah, they've scored 39 goals. They are the only team in the Western Conference, in fact. I take that back. They're one of two in the Western Conference that have not yet hit 40 goals. The only other team is the Anaheim Ducks. But here's the thing. It's a team that is certainly capable of making a run, but right now they are 18 points behind the Winnipeg Jets in the Central Division standings. They are 11 points behind the Minnesota Wild. They're 6 points behind the Dallas Stars. They are in dead last in the West in points. And Thanksgiving's coming up. And what do we know about Thanksgiving? If you're in a playoff spot, if you're in a playoff spot by the time Thanksgiving hits, you're usually stay there.
Yep. Less injuries get you.
Yeah, unless it's
possible.
There's always maybe one, maybe two teams that fall out of it. But like Nashville is going to have to leapfrog literally everybody. They're going to have to leapfrog St. Louis, Seattle, Utah, Colorado, and one of Edmonton or Calgary to get back into a playoff spot. It's a lot of people to jump.
Yeah. St. Louis is a 500 team. They have no depth. They get an injury and they're really hurting. Same with Seattle. Chicago's a better team this year, but, they have no depth at all. Their D is very young. Anaheim, Stollers is a one hell of a goalie. But, their top picks aren't producing. Zegras is doing nothing. He's a bust, as far as I'm concerned, for a number one pick. He's third line center, maybe fourth line, the way he's playing now. Which is too bad for Anaheim because they've been down and out for a long time.
Yeah, for years.
Yep.
Was the last time they were good against us in the Western Conference Finals?
When they won the cup, yeah, I think it was. Yeah. When Disney bought them, they killed the team. They went cheap. And it is what it is. How about more questions?
Yeah.
I like this part of the deal.
Let's see what we've got here. Let's go to this for Kieran. If you would have said, Denny, before the season that the Wild had an elite defense, I would have said you guys were crazy. But the players are clearly playing very well.
Well, that brings up the point. Before the season started, I did my prediction on all the players with the points. Can you pull up the stats so we can see where we're at now? Because I know everybody thought I was crazy.
I was not able to find that spot in whichever show it was in. I don't remember which one because I, of course, didn't label it.
I can pretty much tell you. I do remember that. I had Kaprizov at a minimum 120 up to 150.
Okay, let's go player by player because then I can tell you the pace they're on.
All right, Kaprizov number 120 to 150 is my prediction.
He is on pace right now for 49 goals, 104 assists, 153 total points.
There you go. So I guess I'm pretty right on there. Boldy, 40 and 40.
Matt Boldy is currently on pace for 49 goals, 38 assists, 87 total points.
Now I had him at 80, so there you go. Rossi, 40 and 40.
Marco Rossi is currently on pace. See, I wish they would just list these in better order. Rossi is on pace for 22 goals, 49 assists, 71 points.
I had him at 80, so he's going to pick it up too. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah,
he hasn't even found his mark yet. He's a beast. Okay, Eriksson Ek, I had it 35. I had him at 70 points.
Eriksson Ek right now he missed a few games. He's on pace for 27 goals, 16 assists, 44 points.
Woo! I missed the mark on that one, didn't I?
So he's just got to go on that run like he did last year.
Well, the whole thing is, look who he's playing with. He gets no help from him.
Yeah.
Ek plays in the center, and he's used to the rebounds. And when Mojo isn't shooting the puck, he's got nothing to rebound. And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Another reason why he should be moving him. Let me think. What else? I had Foligno 10-10.
And he is Marcus Foligno. Let me find him. He's on pace for, I think, in the episode that I did for today, I think he was on pace for 16 goals and 27 points.
So he's above what I thought, but that's good.
Yeah,
I
16
had
goals.
Hartman at 20 goals, 40 points.
Hartman is on pace for 16 goals and 22 points. But
Yeah, that's pretty close.
yeah,
Yeah. I had no prediction for Mojo because you know me, what my thoughts about Mojo.
do you want to hear where he's at?
Yes. Winner is, yes.
He is on pace. He's on pace for 5 goals and 11 assists in 77 games.
5 goals?
Yeah.
How are they
16
giving him that much?
16 total points in 77 games.
Oh, that's very strong. That's really strong. No wonder he's our second line winger. When you produce numbers like that, whew, give him a parade right out of town.
How about this? How about Matt Zuccarello's projection?
I had him at 25 goals. I had him at 50 points.
He's on pace for 33 goals, 44 assists, 77 points.
Well, here's my reasoning for that. Second half of the season starts, he's going to slow down. His age just catches up with him. Not because he's a bad player, but age is age. And we saw it last year. We'll see it this year.
I think we've seen Hines trying to maybe help alleviate some of that because he's shaved about 45 seconds off of his ice time per night.
Yep.
So I don't know. At the end of the day, is that going to mean a ton? It couldn't,
No.
But I don't know, might help.
He's got to play 5 minutes less. Excuse me.
Here's a good one from Amanda. Have we talked about the November shift that Bill Guerin made the last couple of seasons? Do we have any idea of or hope of when that will happen? I think what Amanda's referring to is it seems like November is typically Bill Guerin trade time. Whether it be Ryan Reeves a couple of seasons ago, whether it be Ian Cole for Greg Pattern in 2021, 2022.
Yep.
It seems like he makes a November trade pretty much every season, whether it be to try to breathe life into the team or try to just add a little depth.
Well, the reason he waits that long, you got to see what your team does, what you got. And you can't do that in a few games. You got to watch them and see what you really have. One thing I like about Bill is he will make a deal. He's not afraid to move a player to get a player. And I just hope they're listening to me about Brock Nelson because he would be a big benefit to this team. And boy, he would get a feather in his hat for me, I'll tell you that. Get Brock Nelson over here. How good will he look on the second line? Huh? Think about that, folks.
He looked pretty darn good.
Yes. Now I bet you see everybody's numbers go up on that second line with Brock in there. He's a center, but he can play wing just as easily. Not a big deal.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of people are kind of wondering about is, would he be able to make that transition? Those guys that play center can do because here's the other thing is that just adds another potential face-off guy for this Wild team depending on the situation.
Yep, and that always bodes well in the playoffs.
Yeah, it just adds another card to John Hines' deck to where he can say, okay, we're in the offensive zone, second period on the road in game 2 of a playoff series. We need a face-off win here. All right, Brock, you line up at center for this face-off, and we'll put Boldy and we'll put Kirill on that line. We'll put that combination together to get us a goal with the game on the line.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice. I hope he does it. It would really give me hope for a Stanley Cup before I die.
Well,
Getting back to predictions.
this is the
I
year.
think I
This
have
is the year
Murat
to
at
do
20.
it.
Huh?
Let's see. Let's see where Murat is at from a points perspective. Ooh. Murat has 2 points in 15 games so far, so he's on pace for 11.
I had him at 20. Still, long season. He'll pick it up.
He's still learning the offensive side of the game. Like he's still learning that as he goes.
Yep. Let's see. What else did I have? I had Lauko at 20 points.
He is on pace for 11 goals, 11 assists, 22 points.
Yeah. There we go. Let me think. Who am I missing?
Freddie.
I had Freddie at 15 points.
You're going to be blown away here. Freddie Gaudreau is currently on pace for 11 goals, 33 assists, 44 points.
Good. I missed one. Thank God. Because, I got so much flack from everybody when I said that Kaprizov was going to be at minimum 120 points up to 150. You know how many, what the hell are you smoking, Denny, to do that? I got a ton of them. Yeah, I guess I'm not too off the mark now, am I?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be one of the front runners for the Hart Trophy right now.
Him and McKinnon, Kucherov, and of course Connor. They're the top four. But this is the first time, really, other than the 20 games last year, that Kaprizov has had talent to play with. People just don't appreciate what Rossi does for Kaprizov, and they will. Rossi, I'm so high on Rossi, I've told you guys time and again. He's a second-year player, and his two-way game is probably almost top 10%. I mean, and he's just learning. He's going to be a superstar 3-4 years, maybe not even that long. I just hope they don't trade him.
Well,
that trade for who was that guy? Defenseman?
What was that name? Oh boy.
From Columbus, wasn't it?
Yeah, Juracek.
Juracek. I wouldn't do that trade, period. I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep Rossi. As our number one pick, people forget that. He's drafted number 9. And he's so underappreciated here for what he does. He's going to shine this year, people. Trust me, he's going to. And eventually he will be up in the top 10, top 15 centers, period. Right now he's bottom half of 20, fighting with 13, 14 other centers. But they're all big names, and he's right there with them. Cream rises to the top, and he's part of it.
Yes, it
More
does.
questions?
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one from Creepy Colors. Denny, how much has your opinion changed on John Hines? Creepy Color says, I've kind of done a 180 on him so far this season.
Well, I did a show, 3 weeks ago, was it? 2 weeks back, I did a show on Hines, giving his kudos because he deserves them. And I noticed that a lot of shows now are giving their props to Hines, which they should. I'm just glad I was the first to tell everybody. Because Hines is doing a good job. One thing I like about Hines, he's not afraid to look for matches that favor the Wild. And when you're switching up the lines all the time, that's what you're doing. You're looking for a mismatch against a certain player. And the better the coaching is, the better that works out. John Cooper is the very best at it, in my opinion, now. And when you watch him coach a game, you see him doing that all the time. We used to have a coach that would change it up a little bit. He's now a TV analyst, big boy. What's his name again?
Bruce Boudreau.
Boudreau. He used to switch lines a lot. He was a smart coach. I liked him. I just didn't like him in overtime, putting the three slowest players on the ice.
Well, we can't be perfect.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
In my world, you can. What else we got?
Let's go.
Thanks, Creepy Colors.
Let's go to Bob's got this from the Lertzema and Louis. He said Louis asked Lertz, what do the North Stars and the Vikings have in common? Lertz said, I don't know what. Louis said the North Stars haven't won a Super Bowl either.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
That's good.
Oh, only Bob could come up with something like that.
Yeah, beyond that, I think it's all. I think the questions are all things that we have covered so far. So I think, Gustav Nyquist, 1 goal in 11 games. Marcus Johansson, 1 goal in 14 games. I would still rather have Gustav Nyquist 10 times out of 10.
Absolutely.
100 times out of 100.
Gustav is playing with Stamkos. They're not mixing. They got no chemistry. That doesn't mean it won't change, but they don't have any chemistry. They look lost out there. And it's too bad because, what's going to happen is they're going to fire one of my favorite coaches, former Minnesota Wild player, who I wish we talked about a couple of years ago. I wish we could have got him because he plays the kids. But, you're dealt the hand you have, and the easiest way to change the team up is get rid of the coach. Coaches are hired to be fired. That's just the way it works.
But you know what the difference is. You know what the reason that Nashville's off to a slow start this year?
Huh?
Who was added to the coaching staff in the off season?
Oh, he's done a hell of a job, isn't he?
Darby Hendrickson.
That's right. Is Phil Housley on that team? As a coach?
Good question. I'll have to look. I need to clarify this because I'm an idiot. Trav was talking about Philip Gustafson has 1 goal in 11 games, and Marcus.
Excellent comparison, Trav.
Marcus Johansson has 1 goal in 14 games. Yeah. Just ignore me, the idiot that can't read. But yeah, that makes it sink in even more.
Well, Alex Stalock, they used to have run set plays with him because he could pass the puck so well. And Gus Bus isn't at that level, but he could learn to do that and use set plays with the goalie outlet pass, which gave us a big advantage back then because people weren't ready for it. And instead of having, it was they were nice set plays.
Why don't they just list the coaching staff on their website? They got their legal team. They got their public safety team. They got their ticket sales team. Yeah, nothing about the coaching staff.
Figures.
I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Well, at this point, I want to talk about what's coming up in the future, folks. My next show, I will have a real professional studio. We have several people coming on. We hope to start this January 1st. And people we're talking to the first day of our new show, Now we're hoping for January 1st, and we'll already have 150,000 subscribers. And guess what? If you want to be a party on the show, you got to be a subscriber. There is no coming in and leaving, not saying hi or not saying bye and all the good stuff. Want to be part of the party? You got to subscribe. Doesn't cost you nothing. You just got to subscribe. And our studio will have East Coast, West Coast, Canadian, and we are actually going after NHL.com on ESPN. We want to be the number one show in the whole world. And I believe we have the hockey people to do it. And when you see in my new studio, you're going to understand why. It's pretty cool what we're doing. I don't know how many of you are familiar with green screen technology and chroma key, but it's pretty cool. And I hope by the next show, we'll have everything sorted out and ready to go so that you guys can see what I'm up to. But yeah, that's in the plans. For January 1st, we're going to have live show all the time. We got people from all over. And these are all YouTubers that have their own podcasts now. Some you may know, some probably not. But yeah, our show's going to start with at least 150,000 subscribers, which has never been done. And we're shooting for 1 million. And we expect in a few months, that's where we'll be. And yes, I'll be a part of it. This is going to be my legacy in life to Seth.
You'll be the focal point of it.
Well, some of it anyway. As I've told you fans before, if it wasn't for Seth, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Seth has given me a reason to live. And I'm really looking forward to what I do now. And now we're just going to take it to the next level because I know how to do this stuff. And I guess enough people value my opinion on hockey that they want to listen to what I have to say. Thank you. It's really heartfelt that you people appreciate what I have to say about hockey. And I think with that, time to end the show.
One more thing though.
Well, I have to give John Hines what the hell are you smoking for playing Mojo. I can't make any reason of it. Maybe you guys know something I don't know. But after I watch him play, he just goes up and down the ice. He's never in position to do anything. So, John Hines, you get your very first. What the hell are you smoking? With that, fans, thank you for sticking through the troubles here today. You know, I love you all. It's all family here. And with that, I'll say goodnight and look forward to seeing you in the next show. Thank you, everybody.